So we're out here in Bledsoe Creek State Park, northeast of Nashville, Tennessee. And we've been here before. I did this hike fall of last year. I think I put it maybe on my Facebook. I don't think it's on my YouTube. But it's the total trail itself around the inner circle of the park is about 3.5 miles. I've done as many as almost 10 miles here before. There are outer rings and so on and so forth. It just depends on how much you want to do. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about is determining who you give your energy to and how important it is to make sure that you make the right choices regarding that. Because if you've been through some things in this life, you will realize that there are things that are just, there are people, I guess if you can call them that are absolute energy thieves or energy vampires. These are the victims of the world. People who are stuck in this perpetual state of victimhood, constantly having situations, issues going on, and they're never to blame. It's always somebody else's problem. I brought it up in the last video briefly. It's something that I've experienced now for going on 6 years. And as long as you allow those people into your life and you're willing to accept their stories and their tales of woe and all of this other stuff that's going on in their life and all of the things they try to share from you from their past, as long as you're not willing to sit down and ask yourself the same question I've told people before when you get into situations, just simply stop and ask yourself, does this make sense? And then when you turn around and you start doing that and you realize, wait a minute, these people are literally just using me for energy. They're using me for that fuel. They're using me for that attention, that validation, those type of things. When that happens, all of a sudden now you're the person they're going to start blaming. Even on things from their past that you weren't even involved in, because I've seen it personally. And it's crazy. It really is. Just so you know, we're sitting here at the bottom of these steps, which are right there. They're nice and cloudy. It's just the way I'm filming it. But, yeah, you have to make sure that you're extremely careful in who you're allowing to come into your life and what you're allowing them to affect, because they will. And if given the opportunity and you're in a situation like mine, you will realize those people will gladly take you down. They will ruin your life, destroy your life, or attempt to at least. And those are the things you need to be careful of. So let's talk about this and see what this looks like. These individuals will sit there upon the time that you meet them, and they will seem very, very genuine, and at least from a narcissistic standpoint, those people will create a character specifically tailor-made for you based on the things they learn about you. While they're information gathering on you, you think you're getting to know them. You don't realize that most of the things they tell you are nothing more than pathological lies. It's a game that it seems like a game that they play, but in all reality, it is an absolute sickness. It's a mental disorder these people have. So if you notice, I've sort of switched what I talk about on this particular channel versus what I've talked about in the past, because this is kind of what I'm focused on right now. Because I have a situation where, you know, my past continues to haunt me, even though I am a good man and I try to do the right thing. Even for people that are not in my life, you know, you still try to be a good man, and you realize that those particular people years later will still sit there and try to play the victim card, and now you are the cause of their problems. It's crazy because they will do things to draw you out of your peace. It's the reason why I'm here today. It got to the point where it's like I simply made a request because it's time for me to go up and spend some time with my children, and the other parent has decided to attempt to try to make it difficult. I don't need to be asked a bunch of senseless questions regarding my life or what I'm doing or where I'm at or any of that stuff. Simply need to make sure that the boys will be available for that visit. So without going into too much detail, of course, everything will spin off on you, and all of a sudden you are the cause of all their problems. It's just not the case. You have to stop yourself and say, okay, does this make sense? And inevitably it never does. The only thing that makes sense is that this is their MO. This is what they do. It's something that's been going on for a long, long time, much longer than, you know, you've been around or I've been around, likely for the better part of their entire adult life. They've been doing this little manipulation tactic and doing all the gaslighting and all of the other crazy making behavior that they do in order to try to get one over on you, or to manipulate you, or inevitably to try to get control, because that's really what they want. It's always some kind of a control tactic. And then in the meantime, people like myself, people like you who are watching this, are building up defense mechanisms, trying to figure out, what do I do to keep this from happening again? Well, you start by being extremely careful by who you let into your life. Some would say that it's almost a paranoia that you have about being around other people. I don't look at it that way. I'm just hyper aware of everything that's going on. I pay attention to things that people say. I pay attention to the actions that they do. And yeah, you just have to be careful. In this world, there's a lot of sick people, unfortunately. A lot of it, when you look back at it, you know, the experts are saying a lot of it was really, really triggered and opened people up to the whole narcissist thing based on social media. You know, it's all about me. There's a very selfish, self-entitled attitude that's out there, and it's sick. It's just not normal. It's not where I come from. And again, I base my life around the history of my ancestors, and I try to carry myself appropriately and accordingly based on my grandfathers and my great-grandfathers. Very extremely traditional. So when you're allowing people into your life, you have to look at it in certain degrees. You know, is this person a trustworthy person? Does this person have outrageous stories? Are they forever the victim in things that are going on in their life? Just these tales of victimhood. They are non-stop. Like I said, guys, things that you were not even involved in. You weren't even there. Or in some cases, like I said, as crazy as it seems, you weren't even in their life at that time. And they will blame you. And then you ask yourself, does this make sense? Of course it doesn't. Those are the people that you have to, unfortunately, even if you had feelings for that person in the past, or they shared feelings with you, or you had a relationship with them, you have to understand that for the betterment of your own self-respect and self-preservation, along with just being able to cultivate peace in your life, you just simply have to choose to be away from those people. And it sucks, especially when it's a former partner that you shared deep, intense feelings for, somebody you made children with, somebody that you had planned a life around. You have to learn to make peace with that stuff, that it's now been exposed for whatever the reason is, and understand that they will have to end up paying a price for everything that they've done. Because like I said in the previous video, again, when you look at the typical individual that's involved in that kind of behavior, that has that kind of a mental disorder, it's nothing you can fix. That is a big dog.
Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh.
He's friendly, I swear.
He's friendly, but he's twice the size of you.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
going on, you big
sorry.
horse? No, you're fine.
Oh, I've never taken him anywhere by myself before, so.
Well, you've certainly picked the challenge, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
You have a great day. For me today, it was extremely tough. I was sitting in my truck. I'm laid over right now until tomorrow. I'm parked back at our office down the road, a couple 3-4 miles, and I come here whenever I want to get away from things. It is extremely peaceful, as you see in the background. I have to go up that mountain here in a moment. Up that path, there's some steps, and I think there's like 620 steps or something. I just wanted to take a break, and typically I don't take a break during my during my hikes. But I found that, you know, sharing what I do and why I do that is important. It gives other people an idea of an outlet that they can have when they're dealing with issues like this. I had really found myself out of my peaceful place over the last 24 hours. I was sitting with some colleagues and friends, and we were just hanging out last night. And, you know, I said, well, I got to, you know, arrange for this time to take some time off before I go back out on tour again, because I'm leading out for 2 months in a couple weeks. And I was like, well, let me get some time in. I'm not gonna be able to see the boys during Easter, so let's get this weekend in. Figured it was nice and peaceful, like, hey, you know, I just want to make sure the boys can be available, you know, on this date. And then all hell broke loose, and eventually you just realize, you're like, look, and they will, like, again, they, in an effort to become the victim, they will turn the tide on you and try to make it as, like she said, you can threaten me all you want. I'm not intimidated. Nobody threatens you. Nobody intimidated you. I'm simply asking a question. Beyond that, once I make the plans, I will let you know, out of courtesy, so this way here you understand what the plan is. Even when it comes to that, when a person is living just a life of chaos and it's just, it's a hot fucking mess and it's extremely unstable, you have to be prepared for the fact that they're going to turn it all on you. Now, I'm not with that person. I don't live with that person. I'm nowhere near that person. And it amazes me every time. And conversely, it's never a surprise that this happens. And they want to knock you off, they want to make your life unstable too. And you just can't. And sometimes, like today, I got up, got cleaned up, and was like, well, actually, I got up at like midnight last night, got cleaned up. Then just hung out in the truck, slept a little bit more, got up, ate some breakfast, and I was like, I just need to get out and be able to breathe again. And this, to me, is not what I come from, and it's amazing, and I love it, and it brings me peace. And, of course, people that are in my life now, they're all like, oh, you're going out, send pictures, this, that, and whatever, and, those people are the ones that I respect. They're truly close to me, and I appreciate them, and it's good to have those kind of people in your life. Because believe you me, when you look back at the people, that were in your life that are these types who are the perpetual victims, and they're the crazy narcissists, or they're delving deep in the dark triad. And I'll cover that in another video later, because that's some scary shit, and that's kind of what I deal with. Not me personally, but the other person. You need to be able to escape and be able to find your peace. My weakness has always been, during this time, during the last 6 years, if I get stressed out, I will occasionally go out and I will drink. But as I've told those people that have gone with me, and, friends and colleagues that go along with me, they realize, like, dude can't get drunk. It's a... And don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean you go out and do irresponsible things because you're drinking and you can't get a buzz that's so strong that you're drunk. But it's one of them things that I go back and I tell people, I made that prayer years ago, and one of the things I asked God to do was never let up. And he just simply won't. Like, you're not, as much as I try to escape the demons and try to escape the pain from my past, I simply cannot. So it's kind of like a waste to do it. I mean, I'll get to a certain level and we're having fun, and that's just kind of where it ends for me. While everybody else, I gotta carry them back and distribute them appropriately and make sure everybody gets back to where they need to be. I'm always the guy that, on a self-imposed path of destruction that never really goes anywhere, just trying to escape that shit. And when I realize this is where my peace is really at. This place here is, oh, you're fine. It's so funny. There's so many families here and stuff. You don't gotta, what are you shushing for? It's fine, they're kids. I thought you were filming. I am, and it's fine, so say hi. See? No, it's absolutely fine. No, you gotta be on this side to say hi.
Hi.
See? There you go. But yeah, you have to, this place is packed with families this time. This time last year, in fall of last year when I hiked out here, it was nowhere near as busy. And there's lots of people, lots of families out here, which is really cool because they have primitive camping, which are your tents, and guys who are doing it in, there's guys out there sleeping on the ground. But there's some of them that are in hammocks in between trees. And then they have like the more modern camping with hookups and all that stuff. And those are the people like that who are in big campers and fifth wheels and buses with slide outs and all that good stuff. But so I enjoy being here. I could see the families too, which is kind of nice. There's definitely a lot more here than there was in the fall of last year. But what does suck is the fact that the water's down so low. There was a spot that I took some pictures I put on the video last year that there's a great spot on a dock where you can probably see 150 different turtles. Now, I'm not into turtles, but to see that many turtles just floating around, cruising and stuff, it's kind of neat. It was so dried up, like when you got out to the end of the dock, it kind of comes out to a T, and it was still dry out there. You couldn't see anything. And little kids were like, God, what's out there? I was like, well, in the fall, there's turtles. There's a bunch of turtles. But out here now, there's mud. So, unfortunately, the water's really down. But getting back to what I was talking about, you simply cannot allow yourself to be affected by these people. They're for as damaged as I am, as damaged as some of the people in my life are, because they were involved in these really, really messed up relationships, and they made the choice of being involved in that relationship just like I did. You have to understand that these people that do these type of things are even much more damaged, and they can't be fixed. This is how I fix myself. I don't have to get on meds, and like I said, I have a minor propensity once in a while to indulge in drinking. But this is where it's at for me. This is where I find my real peace. This is where I begin to heal, is right out here on the trails. And it's a beautiful day. It's sunny. It's 65 degrees. I don't have to, bulk up in a bunch of sweatshirts and vests and jackets and everything else. I can just go out in a pair of shorts and a long sleeve shirt and throw a pack on and go. But that's how I find my peace. Now, for these other people, understand, like, as much as you may have cared about them or care about them, you're not going to be able to help them get peace in their life. You just simply can't heal them. There's nothing you can do to fix that situation. And that's the thing. That's like from the jump. You need to realize how unhealthy these people are, even when it hurts you to say that, even when it hurts you to realize, like, damn it, man, like, I really had feelings for this person and it's not going to work. And sometimes that's just the way it goes. That's the way life is. I invested a lot of time and energy and attention and certainly a bulk of my resources into this relationship, and we had children together, and it sucks to know that it turned out this way, but it's obviously that way, at least in my life, for a reason. So I no longer second guess it. Again, as I told that person, it was just being absolutely evil to me yesterday for no particular reason other than the fact that she's clearly having some hard times, and that's something that's been going on for years now since she made the choices she has. It should be nothing new to her. Things will, when you built an unstable life, you have to assume that things are going to eventually fall apart and continue to fall apart until you start making good choices and fixing the shit that you fucked up. Because it's no different for everybody else. You have to be extremely careful. I mean, people say, oh, well, you can't judge this. No, we've been judging for decades, okay? Centuries. People who sit there and say, oh, well, you can't judge. Remember, you had a grandmother at one time. You sit there and said, shame on you. And that is, in fact, judging you. You can judge these people because you have to be careful. You can't walk through life blindly and be like, oh, well, everybody's a good person. No, in fact, there's a large portion of people that are really, really bad. And as they've scientifically proven now, because of things like, the increase in narcissism all throughout the Western Hemisphere, because of the influence of social media and the influence of certain subcultures in society and their crazy ideologies that were never proven, and people never bothered to say, hey, where's the real results to prove that this way of thinking is going to work? These people have all been about themselves now, to the point of it's a sickness, and that's sad. So yes, you have to judge, you have to listen, you have to open your ears up during the course of a conversation when you meet somebody and try to figure out, like, is this person genuine? Are they authentic? And you hear a lot of people talk about that stuff all the time, but it is important. Okay, you have to make yourself the first priority, because because you have to understand that based on my own experiences, because I talk to you guys not only about the things that I've researched, but the anecdotal things, the things that occurred in my life. Based on my own experience, you can have that great relationship and then suddenly realize one day, whether by accident or them actually telling you, you're no longer a priority. Once that's the case, you better ask yourself the question as to whether or not it's time to walk away. Guys, learn to protect yourself out here. Find your peace. And live your life. Live a good life. Make good choices. I'm going to let you go because I got to get back to hiking here. I got another 3-4 hours of this to go because I'm going to do about 8 to 10 miles today, hopefully. I'm already into mile 3, but I want to stop and make this video. I'll upload it to you guys. I appreciate you for taking the time to spend a little time with me and find out what I've got to say and what's going on in my life. In the meantime, you guys be safe, and I will talk to you soon. Talk to you later.